Hi there. My name is Brandon, and I'm an ecologically focused gardener growing things in Southeast Texas. And it's July here in Southeast Texas, and I guess everywhere else. And many things in the garden are doing really well. That includes some of the things that I don't want to grow so much, like these grasses. Oh, look, here's some right here. This is Digitaria sanguinalis, I believe, in the group of grasses known as crabgrasses, and it can be quite annoying. And I wanted to show today how I deal with these grasses as an ecological gardener, or a gardener who doesn't want to use pesticides and herbicides because they may damage my little ecosystem that I'm trying to create here. So this is the area behind my greenhouse, which I've been trying to get planted out and have it looking nice this year after redoing the paneling. And it has just become overrun with this grass. It gets into everything. And I just wanted to show how I deal with it and kind of clear an area of it. I would really like this area to look nice by the fall. All right, so the main tools that I use for this job are some kind of wide mouth tub so that I can throw all of the seed heads into an area that I can control them and make sure that they don't end up on the ground. I get all of them. Gloves, long sleeves because this grass is particularly irritating, and kitchen shears. This is what I have found to be the easiest tool for cutting the seed heads. So I just gather them up and cut them and toss them into my container. So I guess it's time to deal with this massive mess over here. I'm not looking forward to it. What I am looking forward to is seeing this area all nice and cleaned up again, because I worked pretty hard this year and last year in the fall to get the greenhouse all set up and repaneled, and I've been enjoying it, but it's going to be just a little bit nicer to actually be able to walk through this area again, because that hasn't been happening. So I guess let's get started. So I'm just showing here that I gather a bunch of seed heads up and toss them into the container. All right, so basically I do this for every seed head that I can see. I mentioned this in the video, but I'm just kind of trying to occupy this space with a little voiceover. I do this particularly to control the spread of the grass itself. You could just pull the grass up and try to deal with the whole plant at once, but I don't want to let the seed heads actually drop and create more plants all over the place, and they have like 100 or more seeds per head, so it's really best if you can contain them. It really doesn't take that long to do this part, but as you'll find out, I couldn't get back to this process and ended up having to do this again. All right, so the first half of this process is all set and done. I'm probably going to have to pick up on the second part tomorrow, so you guys won't have to wait, but I will. So the most important thing for me when dealing with this stuff is that this does not go anywhere back in the garden. These seeds are extremely prolific, and as long as I stay on top of doing this, I do notice a big difference in an area the following year. So this is worth doing. It is a lot of work, but if you don't want to use pesticides or herbicides, like I don't, then this is kind of your option. Now, I burn these, so I have a fire pit, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take these over here now. The thought of throwing these in like municipal, garbage or anything like that horrifies me, but you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. If you can't burn them, then an alternative would be you might be able to, if you want to go the real natural route and keep them on your property like I'm doing here, and render them harmless is you may be able to create a composting area and put them there, and as they sprout and come up you can just rake them over and kill the little seedlings, and that will enhance your compost or whatever soil is in the area that you put those in, while keeping them from becoming a problem. So you just have to be a little bit thoughtful, but this grass is not too unmanageable. Tomorrow I will show the second part of this. Okay, so it has been almost or over a week since I last worked on this project, and I've got to redo the work that I did because I couldn't quite get back to this fast enough. We had several rain events, and yeah, it just didn't work out. I don't have very much time every day to actually work on this, so before I show the part that I wanted to, I gotta redo collecting the seed heads from the grasses because they've regrown. So let me get to that. Also today, I'm dressed a little bit differently because I'm going to need to be kneeling down into the grasses here, and I don't know if I mentioned this in the first part of the video, but they're covered in little irritating hairs, and it's quite awful if you get them all over your legs, your arms, etc. So I've got my winter pants on today that I normally use it in the winter, but if I'm going to be kneeling in the grass, I try to always wear full leg protection, and I recommend that you do the same, especially if you have baby skin like me. So once again, here we are, occupying space with a voiceover. I promise I will eventually get some background music or something, but I'm terrified of getting copyright strikes, so I'm not playing around with music right now. But yeah, luckily this didn't take too long. So I wanted to show real quick how I get this started. And then I'm going to do a little time lapse. But basically what I do is I get in here and I try to find an edge, and I realize I may be missing a tool right now actually. I normally have some kind of a knife, but I'm just going to pull by hand, and usually if you get down near the roots you'll end up with a mass like this, and as long as the seed heads are not attached you can just toss that to the side and mulch it down with a mower, which is what I do, and spread it around. You can actually end up spreading it in the same place, like I said, as long as you don't have all of those seed heads in there. But main key point here is to just open up a little spot, find an edge, grab as near the roots as you can. Like I said, I'll sometimes use some kind of a tool, and move this back a little bit. I'll normally use some kind of a tool. I may try the scissors out today. But yeah, let me do a little time lapse for y'all. Okay, once again, breaking the fourth wall with a voiceover. So honestly, the advice that I've been giving here is very specific to this type of grass that has the seed heads up top. It grows very right along the surface of the ground, so it doesn't run underground or anything. It pulls out by hand super easily. There are many other plants that are much harder to deal with than this particular grass. Okay. There's a reason that I don't get around to doing this in the summer. Oh my gosh. Can y'all see my face? Just dripping all over the place. Anyways, that was pretty successful. I'm not gonna do a super thorough job right now. I'm just trying to get the point across on camera, and then I'm gonna come back and maybe I'll update with a more finished after photo when it's all done. But yeah, a lot of grass came out of there, and I also had some other things that I decided to cut back. Like, these are desirable, but they get big fast, and I decided to cut them back to the ground instead of just pulling them out, because they could grow back in there. Those are Ageratum houstonianum, very nice plant, but different individuals like cultivars and ones that come up from seed They can either be real small and compact and cute, or they can be an absolute menace thing that gets huge and covers a huge area. I'm gonna do a video on the differences between them in the future, don't you worry. But for today, I think that's about all I can handle recording here. This is quite a job. It's actually not too bad once you get the basic work done. The reason that I cut the seed heads off instead of just pulling everything out is, like I said in the beginning, those little seeds get very hard to keep track of once the material is on the ground like this. And so if I just get the seed heads off and get them put into a container, I can throw these in the fire pit. They will eventually get burned and they are dealt with, and then I can mulch down the rest of the material. Also, the fire pit cannot handle huge amounts of biomass at once, so that's why I separate the seed heads and don't just throw all of the grasses onto it. By the time I get around to burning the fire pit, it's probably rained 5 times and it's just become more or less a compost pile, and everything is wet and matted down and it won't burn. So that is why I opt to collect the seed heads and deal with them separately rather than just all of the plant material at once. Okay, y'all, so this video has taken me several weeks to film, and it's not perfect, but if I don't upload something, I'm never going to upload anything. Hopefully this will be my first video that kind of launches everything off and I get better as I go. But this is the area that has been cleaned up to some degree. This rose is so much fun. This is Perfume Breeze, by the way. Video coming at some point in the future. And this is a peach tree seedling. Oh gosh, my neighbor is revving his little engine over there. But yeah, this project has gone pretty well. I still have lots of detailing to do, and the area that you saw me walk out of over there is still quite a mess. But I'm getting around to it all. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this video and you learned something from it. I guess, you know, the YouTube-y thing to do is to ask you to subscribe and share this and all that stuff. So yeah, comment, suggest things, ask questions about plants that you see, give me some ideas for videos, and I'll see you in the next one.